let me, who is an entrepreneur? Somebody who can identify a problem, maybe find a proper solution. There are like n number of solutions. If you do the same old method, there's no money in that, there's no fun in that. You should be able to provide a solution much better than the existing way of doing it. It's difficult to beat the competition with the present way the present businesses are solving. Unless you find a more efficient way of it, you can't solve it, or neither will you get customers. And lots of times it's extremely challenging to find a difficult problem to, a problem to solve, or to identify the problem itself is a big challenge. I think that's one of the first and key parameters in trying to identify a business to get into. And next is the three things that we have to, as an entrepreneur, should provide, or the customer is looking for: a good quality product at a low price, and a good service or delivery mechanism or availability. Most of the times it's like easy to give any two of them, either a good price or a good quality or a good service. It's a challenge to give all the three. You can take n number of examples we have here. If the quality and service is good, the price is high. Or if the price and quality is good, it's not immediately available. You have to wait for it. The challenge is to fulfill all three in a manner acceptable to the customer or your end user. And then next comes to me is the investment. I would say don't invest more than about 40 to 50% of your net worth or ability or capacity in any venture or any single sector. I think it would be too risky. And a number of businesses fail within the first couple of years. There are very few businesses that run more than 10 years. And if your business fails or your entrepreneurship is a flop, your lifestyle should not change considerably. That's one of the key factors for me on selecting, or the quantum of investment. And most businesses die because there's no enough cash flow. I hope the students understand what cash flow is. Cash flow is like how much money you get in and how much money you spend every month. And most people, entrepreneurs, underestimate the cash flow requirements. And most of the time we have to buy with cash but sell for credit. And I would say don't ever borrow at high interest rate. You're never going to, it'll be extremely, extremely difficult to pay off money at high interest rates. And it's important to estimate the working capital requirements with a reasonable amount of certainty. Unless you have a good estimate, you wouldn't know what your investment is. And middle of the game, you can't ask for more investment from the people who fund you or something. And next is you should have some domain knowledge in the field you want to enter into. Otherwise, find some partner who would have some experience or domain knowledge in this. And we are not experts in everything. You have to recruit some people who have strengths or who complement your weaknesses. And creating a good team is, I would say, one of the important aspects of entrepreneurship. You should be able to receive ideas and judge them, or accept. You should accept ideas, judge them, and see what is applicable to you. be very open to ideas. And I suggest a good or an easy way to quickly learn stuff is talk to consultants. A good consultant will give you lots of information. He's like giving you the essence of his experience, of his 10 years, 20 years experience in a short period. And also attend conferences, and at conferences you will be overwhelmed with the choices and available options. Next is when do you start to, or when do you become an entrepreneur? Timing is also kind of important. If you start early, the market is too immature. If you should start early enough so that you have considerable margins. If it's a mature market, there are too many players and the margins are low. And equally important is when do you get out of, or when do you stop that business? Getting out is as important as the timing for getting out is as important as the timing for getting in. There's no point throwing away good money trying to revive a failing business. And then, okay, the different types of entrepreneurship. You have most people here who are making money are mostly into speculative stuff, like buying real estate, or a rice mill holding rice and then selling the rice at a premium. They make more money on the speculation aspect rather than the milling aspect of it. And then the regular value addition, or you add value to the product and then make a reasonable amount of profit. Something like mundane stuff like making biscuits or something like that. And then if you're looking for high margins, look, the volumes are going to be very low. And if your volumes are high, margins are low. When volumes are high, you need a large amount of cash flow. Volume and the margins are, the inversely opposite. If you have high volumes, the margins are low. They give you very little profit on that. And then first generation entrepreneurs have to be extremely careful, because they wouldn't have a family or something to guide them. And then you have the classic entrepreneurs who are doing the traditional stuff, and the modern entrepreneurs who are doing the new, or trying to fit into the new economy or the gig economy, things like that. The classic entrepreneurs, again, the margins are a little bit low. Again, in the modern entrepreneurship or in the modern economy, there's a good margin, but you still have to take a considerable amount of risk. You don't know whether that modern venture that you are going to start will be successful or not. Mostly the classic ones are the traditional ones. They're like proven business model. And if you want to be an entrepreneur, you have to work a large number, a considerable number of hours. It's not a joke. It's like nurturing a baby. You have to be on your toes. You have to be, constantly thinking about it, talking to people. You have to micromanage. You have to macromanage. You have to look after nitty-gritty, small stuff, as well as the big picture. You have to be a perfectionist, as well as be, I would say, able to move things forward. You can't get perfection stop you midway. And also, you should have some kind of inborn talent or for entrepreneurship, not just your interest. You should have some kind of inborn ability that is okay. And you can't consider entrepreneurship like a 8 to 5 job. I've known lots of entrepreneurs who have considered business like an 8 to 5 job, and they have flopped very miserably. And if I were an entrepreneur, I wouldn't deal with government at all. You will not get, you're not likely to get paid in time. You are left to their mercy. You can't reason or logic. I mean, you can't reason with them, or you can't use logic. Most of the time, you are left to the whims and fancies of these higher ups. And most of the time, people price their product so low to get market share. I can give you an example, like there's a truck. I mean, you're building a house and you want to buy sand. Who can give you the sand at the lowest price? Somebody who doesn't maintain his truck properly, who uses worn out tires, who doesn't paint his trucks. If you use, if you are into businesses like that, and if you are a perfectionist or something, you can't move forward. And also, you should price your product such a way that you have enough money to cover your depreciation, your interest costs, your maintenance, your R&D efforts. In the same example, I was talking about the sand. If you buy a new truck, paint it, maintain it properly and all, you can't beat the price of a guy running truck in a beaten old truck without proper brakes and all that. And also, before making considerable investment, try to outsource the product or service without making too much of an investment. Suppose you want to make mineral waters or bottled water. Don't set up a plant to make bottled water. That's very easy. You outsource the bottled water from an existing plant under your brand name, sell it, and then invest in your plant and machinery. Most of the time, the bottleneck is marketing and cash flow. It is not the machinery or the infrastructure or the plant or the location and all that. And especially when you outsource from an existing supplier, you can possibly get it at a lower price than doing it yourself, because for you there would be interest costs, there would be depreciation. Everything is new to you. Definitely consider outsourcing some products at least, especially that have high investments. And for the existing businesses, suppose I have a automobile dealership. See, I have my own showroom. I rent. I don't need to pay somebody rent. I bought my land long back at a considerably lower cost. Suppose you have to buy that land today, it will cost you a bomb. And to service that land cost will be exorbitant to you. So it's extremely difficult to beat existing players, especially if you have large interest and depreciation costs. And I would say you have to start small in a small geographic area and try to get a bigger market share rather than thinning yourself and spreading it to a bigger area with a smaller market share. I hope I'm clear on this. Suppose you want to sell cool drinks. You sell cool drinks in your town or in your village or in your locality. Get a considerable market share and then slowly spread yourself. You can't try to launch a national cool drink brand. Your advertising cost will eat you up. And if you are successful in a small area, slowly expand it or sell your product to a bigger brand. And I have found some considerably useful books on especially the loss of entrepreneurship, the loss of businesses and stuff like that. There is a book called Laws and Businesses, published by the Bombay Chartered Accountants Society. And there are a lot of TED Talks, as well as Google or iPhone or whatever podcasts on entrepreneurship, especially magazines like Economist and the New York Times or the Wall Street Journal. You don't have to pay anything for that. I found them quite interesting.